And I'm Aisha Yakubu Halil, coming up in the bulletin this evening.
360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Closed-door parliamentary session on emoluments for Article 71 office holders concluded. We're live in Parliament.
High Court restrained NPPs and Eskumi from holding himself out as MP-elect for the Akwatia constituency.
Also coming up tonight, calls for full-scale probe into Kantamanto fire outbreak as a deputy minister alleges arson.
In business tonight, finance expert urges Bank of Ghana to extend deadline for meeting 13% capital adequacy ratio threshold to 2026.
And elsewhere on the international front, gunman who killed 12 people in a series of shootings in southern Montenegro has died from self-inflicted injuries he sustained before he was arrested. We've got details of all these stories, plus many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on X.
We start off from Parliament. A closed-door session on emoluments for Article 71 office holders has been concluded. Proceedings took off more than 2 hours ago when non-members of Parliament were asked to exit the chamber. Let's take you live to Parliament now, where my colleague Noble Crosby-Annan is for more details on this. Noble, good evening to you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Aisha.
Now, can you give us any update on what was agreed on as entitlements for legislators?
Well, Aisha, what was agreed on, because it was a meeting, a closed sitting of Parliament, essentially meaning that non-MPs were not allowed in the building, just like you rightly mentioned. So for people in the public gallery, the media, for instance, visitors to Parliament, even the marshals and police officers who were around at the time were asked to leave the chamber, so that members of Parliament will form a committee of the whole and to deal with the report of the Presidential Committee on Emoluments, essentially saying that it was a closed sitting. So we will not be able to say what has been agreed on or how much has been agreed on for what. But the conversations that we're picking up is that it has gone very well with the members of Parliament. Essentially, this was in respect of the executive and the judiciary. Now, the executive will now deal with emoluments for Parliament. So Parliament has dealt with the emoluments for the executive and the judiciary. And word we're picking is that it has been agreed on, if you like, unanimously, like has been expected for the past couple of periods, or has been done for the past couple of periods over the past couple of years. The sitting has concluded, and as you can see behind me, members of Parliament have begun trooping in after sitting was suspended for the Finance and the Budget Committee to deliberate on the mini budget presentation. But answering your question, we cannot tell you how much has been approved, but we can say that a consensus or a good agreement has been reached by these members of Parliament. And for the executive and the judiciary, the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole on the report of the Presidential Committee on Emoluments for Article 71 office holders 2021 to 2025 in respect of the executive and the judiciary has gone through.
Noble, aside all of that you've mentioned, has any parliamentary business been tackled so far?
Right, so Aisha, on the order paper today in Parliament, what I have in front of me after it was shared amongst the members of Parliament and the media, we're seeing two things that were on the order paper today. The first was the adoption of reports of the Budget Committee on the expenditure in advance of appropriation for January to March 2025. That is the mini budgets. Now, you know that the past couple of periods from last month all the way from November, this has been on the order paper for a very, very, very long time. Now, the finance minister has been unable to present this. It raised a lot of suspicions and concerns from the minority side of the House, saying that they want to frustrate government businesses in the incoming government business. However, that motion or that paper has been laid by the finance minister. We're talking about some 68.1 billion cedis has been laid in the House. After it was laid, the Speaker of Parliament referred it to the Finance and the Budget Committee. A joint committee was formed, the Finance and the Budget Committee, to deliberate, look at what is mentioned in this mini budget, after which the committee will present a report to the entire House, and the entire House will deliberate and adapt or vote on it. The expectation is that it will be accepted because everybody essentially knows what is contained in this. When it comes to matters of the delay in presenting the mini budget, the Speaker of Parliament is telling us that it was not because the Finance Minister, Dr. Amin Adam, refused or was unable to come and do what was expected of him. Today he's telling us that it was because of some parliamentary challenges, institutional challenges. Parliament as an institution, they had a reason or a part to play in the delay of the mini budget presentation. Of course, that reason given by the Speaker has been watered down by some quarters, saying that it cannot be the reason because even before today, the budget was ready, the finance minister was ready to present it to the House, but because of the change in government, there had to be some adoptions made because the mini budget, of course, was made with the thinking that the NPP will retain power in 2025 and it would be in line with the agenda or the progress the NPP government wants to make. So after they lost the election, a few tweaks had to be made here and there, and that demanded a lot of thinking. So that was the reason given by the Speaker, and that has been the counter-argument from some quarters. But what stands now is that the report has been laid, the paper has been laid, the Finance and Budget Committee of the House, a joint committee was set up, chaired by a member of the minority side, to analyze the mini budget. A report will then be presented to the House, and then a decision will be made, essentially taking care of the remaining of the months of, I'm talking about the first quarter of 2025, so January, February and March 2025, Aisha.
Right, Noble. We wait to see how all of that pans out. Thank you so much. Noble Crosby Annan is our man in Parliament, bringing us up to date on proceedings in the House.
Right, Aisha, thank you very much. Let's move on to other stories now. And the MP-elect for the Akwatia constituency, Ernest Yaokumi, has been injuncted by Koforidua High Court from holding himself as winner of the December 7 elections. The court, presided over by Justice Senyo Amedehe, ruled that it was satisfied that a 10-day injunction be imposed. The Electoral Commission on December 12 declared Ernest Kumi as winner of the polls at the Tesano Training School here in Accra after multiple failed attempts to finalize the results.
Upon some deliberations, all the election materials were taken to the police headquarters, the regional headquarters at PB, for safekeeping, pending action from the Electoral Commission, the commissioners themselves. All my clients got to hear in the media, in the news, was that they had gone in concert with the first respondent, which is the NPP candidate. The Electoral Commission had gone to take the election material because they have not done any collation in Akwatia, not to talk of declaration. You know, you need to do there is a collation from the form key. It is on the basis of that form that you do a declaration, the establishment. That had not been done. So all the materials were kept there. You went in concert with the NPP, went to take the materials one morning and went to Tesano without the NDC and then the candidate I represent. And then you went to do your own thing. You see, the law that talks about the validity of your exercise, not a contingent of the fact that a candidate or its agent comes there or not. It's not, or does not exclude the fact that they should at least be informed. So if you have invited him and he refuses to come, then you may have a seat. Because whatever happened there, you see, and the reason the elections were not declared in Akwatia was on the basis that the petitioner, which is my client, the current MP, had raised issues about some malpractices that had engulfed certain police stations, especially the new Wenchi, as we call it. 10 police stations there, and people were voting without going through the biometric device. So the plea or the protest was that let us investigate, let us audit the DVDs. The EC says they will do it. Now,
so Mr. Bediako, I do get your point here, but practically we know the registration of members of parliament has been ongoing for some weeks now. What do you expect to happen between now and January 6 midnight?
Well, even when he's on the verge of being sworn in, the court can still injunct. Even, you remember the Chikwezi case, even if we are in parliament, you can still be injuncted. But in this case, they were asked to do online registration. My understanding is that the in-person registration starts today, whether it started or not. But my information is that, you see, following the Supreme Court's decision, the EC withdrew the gazette that they have sent to the Ghana Publishing Company. As I speak to you, I do not have confirmation that that gazette has been restored or taken back to the Ghana Publishing. It's a Mekia case, but at the end of the day, what is most important is that the court has ordered that all who matter, all who are involved in this matter should not recognize Ernest Kumi, who is the candidate for NPP. They should not swear him in, they should not gazette, they should not admit, they should not even call him MP elect. This is for 10 days per the law, and that is what the law says. After the 10 days, we will repeat the application and have this matter heard so that we would all come to a conclusion as to who actually won the election fair and square. But at the moment, Ernest Kumi cannot call himself, EC cannot even proceed with the gazette if they've not done it. And if they have, the clerk to parliament is also being said here that he should not swear him in as member of parliament elect until after 10 days, the court will take a decision after we've repeated the application.
I'm afraid, Mr. Bediako Baidu, we've got to say a big thank you to you. Thank you very much for your time here on News 360.
Yes.
Also tonight, we are learning that the governing New Patriotic Party's National Council has opted to retain Ifutu MP Alexander Apenyomakin as the leader of the NPP caucus in the next parliament. He is joined by other colleagues who served with him on the majority side, with the exception of Alex Tete Jonobwa, who lost his seat. Now, let's run you through the list of the NPP leaders from what we're learning. Like I mentioned earlier, Alexander Apenyomakin will be now minority leader. He is MP-elect for Ifutu. Patricia Pierre will join him. She's MP-elect Asokwa, and she will be deputy minority leader. Frank Anodompre, MP-elect for Nsawam Edwajiri, he is minority chief whip. And Habib Idrisu will be the first deputy minority whip. He is MP-elect for Tolong. Davis Ansa Opoku is MP-elect from Prioso, and he joins the team as second deputy minority whip.
And in barely 24 hours, President Akufo-Addo will deliver his final State of the Nation address. He is expected to touch on his achievements leading the nation since 2017 and his final reflections as he exits office. Will this address meet the expectations of the people? My colleague Judith Brown reports.
The State of the Nation address has become an important event in Ghana's political calendar, providing a platform for presidents to account for their stewardship and outline their policy priorities. Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution requires the President to deliver an annual address to Parliament covering the economic, social, and financial state of the country. Our President Akufo-Addo assumed office for his second term on January 7, 2021, after a fiercely contested election. During his campaign, he made several promises to the Ghanaian people, including improving the economy and creating jobs, as well as improving the educational sector. The performance of his administration has, however, been a subject of debate among Ghanaians, with some expressing dissatisfaction with his handling of key issues. While the upcoming State of the Nation address presents an opportunity for the president to outline his accomplishments and provide a progress report on his promises. And expectations are already high. The clock is ticking, and Ghanaians are eagerly awaiting the address, hoping for a clear vision for the nation's future. President Akufo-Addo meets the expectations of the Ghanaian people in his final address. The nation awaits with bated breath. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
And now to another unfortunate story that has been topical since morning. Hundreds of traders have been displaced following a devastating fire that ravaged Kantamanto markets in the Central Business District, leaving nearly the entire market reduced to ashes. The blaze, which broke out late last night, caused widespread destruction, with one person reported to be burnt and several others collapsing from shock and distress.
This is Kweku, an eyewitness. He recounts how the fire broke out suddenly, catching many off guard. He first spotted the flames around 1 a.m. while buying food nearby. He and others managed to fight the fire at its onset, but then they heard a loud explosion that quickly escalated the blaze. Kweku added that the severity of the fire left firefighters helpless. Despite the presence of 13 fire tenders, the fire are now blaming the fire personnel for their perceived negligence. However, the Greater Accra Regional Fire Commander has repeated these allegations.
By 2 minutes we were here, because 0118 and 0120. So within 2 minutes, the tender from Accra City Fire Station was here. After this fire, we need to sit down with the market authorities and then see the way forward.
As mourn the loss of the goods, scrap dealers have taken advantage of the situation to profit. As smoke continues to billow over the devastated market, affected traders are left grappling with the heartbreaking loss of their livelihoods. Many are appealing for immediate support to rebuild their businesses, while others are calling for authorities to investigate the cause of the fire and enhance market safety measures. A very sad moment for traders here at Kantamanto as they continue to count their losses following 2nd January early morning fire outbreak. Experts have called for a decisive measure to be taken to end this annual disaster. Joseph Armstrong, Gold, TV3, Kantamanto, Accra.
Meanwhile, a deputy minister for local government, Vincent Isefua, is alleging a politically motivated arson geared at destroying properties belonging to traders. Let's take a look at what he has been saying. So he says, and I quote, that this is a politically motivated incident. There is a political party behind the incident. There is a belief that those who trade there belong to a certain party. My investigation showed that those who decided to ban it did in such a way that no one can go in to remove his items. A polling agent of the National Democratic Congress in the just ended elections had already given the signal. He had said, "We will all lose Kantamanto." Unquote. Vincent Eko Asefua, Deputy Minister, Local Government.
Also, the Greater Accra Regional Minister Titus Glover has directed security services to intensify investigations into the cause of the Kantamanto fire. The minister also called on the incoming government to find a way to compensate the affected traders once they assume office.
This annual ritual is becoming too many. It's becoming too much. It's becoming too much. I can't even know how to express it. This is so bad, so miserable. Oh, the owners of this land is the Ghana Railway Corporation, Regional Coordinating Council, and the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. We have no one here. So when you accuse us wrongly, it becomes a bit difficult for us. We are here to empathize with the people. Every year, these things have been going on. And I'm asking my commander, what have been the help that we've been given? Because they're supposed to have night watchmen. And they should know that within this same period is where these fires, come along. So what have been the intelligence? What have they been doing in their night patrols and all that? What have they been doing? This is an issue that the police can help us to unravel. President Mama's government should look at these people. By this time, the fire service and the police should be able to take statistics of all those who are here and get the data ready, whatever they are selling. And people should not also exaggerate things that they don't have, they say they have. They should be sincere and make sure that they give the right information to assist the fire service and the police.
Meanwhile, the Bureau of Public Safety says constant destruction of properties by fire outbreak is affecting the economy. Executive Director Dr. Nanaya Akwatia believes a comprehensive probe will put all controversies regarding such incidents to rest.
Get to that stage where we as a people begin to take action, begin to care about our human, security, begin to care about, capital that people put in this, begin to analyze the impact of some of these property damages and trade wares that are lost, the impact of it on our GDP. We are not going anywhere, and these will continue recurring. Look, it's estimated that annually, Ghana, we are losing in excess of $16 million out of some of these market fires.
Right.
So why wouldn't we concern ourselves, with this and deal with this issue once and for all?
Still on the Kantamanto fire, GCB Bank has expressed its deepest sympathies to individuals and businesses affected by the recent fire outbreak, which destroyed numerous shops and properties on January 1, 2025. The GCB Bank has shown great support to those who were involved in the incident.
The fire outbreak at Kantamanto in Accra on the 2nd January 2025 resulted in a lot of shops and properties being destroyed. The GCB Bank sympathized with some traders whose shops were involved in the recent fire outbreak. Some traders who banked with GCB received some benefits from the value-added package insurance the bank offers to customers. Sympathizing with the traders, the executive head, Retail Banking Department, Sena Kamagati, consoled individuals whose items were devastated in the fire outbreak.
So much as we condole with our customers, our sympathies are them. I bring them the sympathies of the board, of our MD, and the entire executive management team who continue supporting them. And to the Ghanaian populace, we are saying that GCB is a bank that cares for its customers. And so if you are into business, register, open an account with us, and you would qualify to be signed on to our value-added program, which signs you on an insurance for burglary, for fire. And so we condole with our customers and our sympathies are with them.
He also highlighted the benefits of having insurance and reiterated that Ghanaians must prioritize having insurance.
Okay, so the value-added package as a product is an insurance package. So what we do is that our customers who maintain average deposit of 50,000, we identify them and sign them on. The essence of that product was in anticipation of a day like this, a day where fire can bring their businesses down. And for our customers who signed up for that product, there is some good news on the horizon for them, and that is we are going to initiate the insurance indemnification process right away. We would make sure that we get them some bit of restitution or support to cushion them. And for our customers who haven't signed up, this is the clearest opportunity for them to continue doing business with us.
Some traders expressed their grievances towards the outbreak and also appreciated the efforts of GCB Bank towards them in their time of need.
Because na yenyi ni se GCB bedani na chi ama yenda enti yedamasi GCB yedamasi kakra metimi aka no
eni omu na ye adwuma enti omu hu de ato ye no omu ntimi ntrase ena omu to nsa ade afre se ye mmra na omu so mwa bia esefata se omu de boaye no omu de beboaye ampa ye ba so omu anya ye jeje mu ene se ye wo ha mo de abetu ye yeda GCB ase bebre na mi hira omu nyina yedamasi.
The GCB Bank has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting the community during the challenging time, emphasizing the importance of standing together to rebuild and recover.
Now, several heaps of harvested maize on a 75-hectare farm belonging to the Savannah Regional Minister has been gutted by fire. The incident, which occurred on Wednesday, January 1, is believed to be caused by a suspected arson.
According to the minister, he received a phone call from some farmers alerting him of the incident. He quickly moved to the farm and saw the heaps of harvested maize in flames. Everything on the 75-hectare farm was burning to ashes.
When I heard that my harvest was on fire, I was not really happy. I quickly dashed there to see what really was happening. And true, when I got there, I realized that a 75-hectare land, which we had finished harvesting maize and gathered them, we did a 10-meter fire belt, well weeded, so that fire cannot go into the heaps. Unfortunately, when I got there, everything, the two heaps, at the same time, that is what has really surprised us. At the same time, they were all on fire. So it was very clear that it wasn't just ordinary bushfire. Somebody would have caused this mayhem. And for what reason, I don't have an idea.
He expressed worry over the incident.
And so with this happening, it's so disappointing. I'm not really happy that somebody will have the guts to go and do this to a fellow human. At least it is, I have nothing to say, but I leave everything to God.
Some farmers have also been reacting to the incident.
The way I did their pen and not, the way minister just put some money, fertilizer, and then all this pay the women's. That's the way they just worry me. Me and Master Salam just take care of the farm. So that just worried me yesterday.
Away from that, President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Angel Kabonu, has called on the President-elect John Dramani Mahama to immediately roll out policies to address the economic challenges. According to him, the economic recovery policies should include addressing depreciation of the cedi and cost of living on Ghanaians. He spoke exclusively with our labor correspondent, Daniel Opoku, here in Accra.
As at the end of 2024, the exchange rate was 16 cedis to $1. The Economic Intelligence Unit has since predicted a depreciation of the cedi by the first half of 2025. Ahead of the swearing-in of the President-elect John Dramani Mahama, the President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers in Agrat, Eric Angel Kabonu, has charged the President-elect to adopt economic recovery strategy. The strategy, according to Angel Kabonu, should include the exchange rate.
One thing that is afflicting businessmen and women, traders and so in this country is the fluctuating value of the cedi. We are not competitive in relation to our neighbors in Togo and Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire have a huge boom in their economy. A lot of companies in Ghana are gravitating towards Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire is now becoming the creme de la creme of West Africa. Every day you wake up, your CD is gone down. The dollar is gone up. Other currencies have gone up. Prices of goods and services change on a daily basis. How can you run such an economy?
He also appealed to President-elect John Dramani Mahama to dismiss ministers who failed to live up to expectation.
Can we even go back and see some of the things that made the NPP lose election? Because Nana Addo was not able to crack the whip. How many times did Ghanaians not cry for a reshuffle? Common reshuffle. The president said, once you've called for it, I'm going to stick my grounds. I have not seen any government in power for 8 years just carry some shadow reshuffling activities. You see, and one thing reshuffle does is to remove people who are getting comfortable in their space to other spaces and to see the performance of people.
Of a major concern to the president of NAGRAT is the need for president-elect to begin process to allow the elections of district chief executives.
Are you proud of the type of partisan politics we have engaged in the past election, where people labeled rice, gave cooking utensils and bentua and things for people? Are you proud of that? Are you proud of the behavior of political parties? Do you want us to descend into the very basic of our political structure, the district assembly, and replicate this misbehavior there too? So for me, let us maintain our district level assemblies as non-partisan. Let the people go in as officially non-partisan. By so doing, when they even get the nod, they will all know allegiance to any political structure.
If you just tuned in, a reminder you're watching News 360, our major news bulletin for the day. We'll take a short break now.
financial stability. And I think the government needs to take decisive measures in addressing them. Number one, if possible, I think the regulatory relief granted to the banks, which is expected to end this year, if possible, should be extended to 2026 to allow banks to slowly settle in terms of the ability to absorb the risks that the DDP impose.
Dr. Yadom is also urging the next government to expedite contract payments to reduce non-performing loans on local banks' balance sheets. IC Insight argues that credit risk, however, remains elevated, with non-performing loans ratio rising to 22.7% from 18.3% over the period.
In the year of Rose, we know that banks heavily supported contractors in executing the government agenda. We are expecting to be able to minimize the high non-performing loans, which increase the exposure of these banks. Government should be able to pay them on time and to avoid delay. Now, these delays will worsen the capital adequacy position of these banks.
We'll cross over now to Parliament, where conversations are ongoing on the mini-budget for 2025.
Necessary to carry on the services of government for the period January to March 2025 in accordance with Article 180 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, the Public Financial Management Act, and the standing orders of the House. Respectfully submitted.
Yes, honourable members, any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion, and just to add two more statements to what my colleague just said. On paragraph 5.3, the committee also noted that government has made available 20,691,523,500 Ghana cedis to make payments for the energy sector levy account, and also to make some payments to the independent power producers. Secondly, liabilities that will fall due, Mr. Speaker, has been catered for with an amount of 1.228 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I believe that this House has supported government to perform this constitutional duty, and we pray that it will go on and ensure that government activities are not interrupted in the first quarter of the year 2025. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion is moved and seconded. It's now for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, if you look at our standing orders, I think it's order 200. Order 200. Order 200 guides us as to how to consider this item. And 201 says, where it appears to the President that the Appropriation Act in respect of any financial year will not come into operation by the beginning of the financial year, the President may authorize the withdrawal of monies from the Consolidated Fund to meet the expenditure necessary to carry on the services of government in respect of the period expiring 3 months from the beginning of the financial year, or on the coming into operation of the Act, whichever is earlier. The expenditure, that is 202, the expenditure in advance of appropriation shall be with the prior approval of Parliament, supported by a resolution. Supported by a resolution. And so what has just happened is the adoption of the report of the committee. And so I'll proceed to put a question on that, and then we will now have to do the resolution to make sure that we have granted a prior approval. So I put the question now. Those in support of the adoption of the report of the Joint Committee, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The report is accordingly adopted by the House. move on to item 11 at page 3 of the order paper, resolution. Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopt Resolution 11 on pages 3 and 4 of today's order paper. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion.
Mr. Speaker, there is a procedural challenge here.
Who called you? Honorable members, I think my mic had a challenge, and so the honorable member just read my lips and got up second the adoption of the resolution. So the resolution has been moved and seconded. It's now for the consideration of the House. This being a consequential resolution from the motion, I proceed to put the question. Those in support of the resolution as captured at page 3 and 4 of the order paper, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, the resolution as captured at page 3 and 4 of the order paper is accordingly resolved by the House. We will now proceed to the last item. Yes, I didn't cite you at your seat. That's why I was struggling to identify you. Members will recall members will recall that earlier today we had to recline into a closed sitting, and in the closed sitting we authorized a subcommittee to, on our behalf, perform a duty, and so we have to go back into the closed sitting and to hear from the committee what has happened since we gave them the authority to perform a function on our behalf. So please, I will call the House to constitute itself into a closed sitting, and therefore I direct the Marshal's Department to proceed to perform the necessary duty as required of them by our standing orders. Close sitting, please.
So those were live updates from Parliament, where we've just confirmed that the Parliament has approved the budget for the first quarter of 2025, 68.1 billion Ghana cedis. But over the phone joining us now is my colleague Noble Crosby Annan to bring us more perspective on the closed meeting Parliament is currently undergoing. Help us understand, Noble, what are the details of this particular meeting?
Michael, this is what has happened in Parliament. So after the Finance Minister laid the paper, what happened was the Speaker referred it to a joint committee, the Finance and the Budget Committee of the House. And the committee was chaired by Thomas Anthony Yako. He's the chairman of the Budget Committee from the minority side. So what he has done is that he has presented their report after deliberations on what the Finance Minister presented to the House. Thomas Anthony Yako has now presented their report to the House, and that is what has been adopted. Eventually, the entire House will now have to vote or approve the mini budget. So that has not happened yet. What has happened right now is that the report by the Finance and Budget Committee of the House has been adopted by the entire House, by the plenary. Now the plenary will decide on what happens to the mini budget, what happens to the paper laid by the Finance Minister. Already we're looking at some 68.1 billion cedis to be used to finance business government expenditure for the first quarter of 2025. What is happening right now is that there's another closed sitting, and that is because earlier in the day, the Speaker now called a closed sitting for Parliament to look at the Presidential Committee on Emolument for Article 71 office holders 2021 to 2025 in respect of the executive and the judiciary. So because it was a closed sitting, the adoption of the report by the committee of the whole for the same thing should also be done as closed sitting. So that is what is happening in Parliament right now. When that is done, we're expecting that we get, conversation, we get to know what has really happened to, number one, the mini budget approved or not by the entire House, and number two, what has happened to Article 71 office holders with respect to the executive and the judiciary, the reports that will be adopted or not.
All right, thank you so much. That's my colleague Noble Crosby Annan. You're still watching News 360 here on TV3. My name is Michael Obodu. We'll go for a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you more.
boundaries. But while some are raving about his stage presence, not everyone is convinced. Critics argue that, despite the hype, Shatta Wale didn't quite live up to the expectations set by his loyal fans. A post from Samini read, "For the culture and everything relevant to dancehall and Jamaica, I would say I'm super proud of SM boss Shatta Wale on your maiden performance in JA. You stood there in the name of African dancehall and made every dancehall artist on the continent proud. Big up world boss. Dancehall is global 5. DJ Kweku Slim also posted, "When your fellow artists travel to play concerts, you call them travel and tour artists. Your own diss, you won't make we praise you? Curtain raiser." Kwame Dazi is of the view that it's high time Ghanaians put the fanaticism and rivalry aside and celebrate wins like Shatta Wale's appearance on Vibes Cartel's concert. He posted, "In a growing industry like ours that seeks international exposure and marketability, we need to be happy for any artist that mounts a stage outside the country. It is usually not just about the entertainment. It is also about marketing the artist and Ghana to the world. Sometimes we should just put the fanaticism and fandom rivalry aside for a minute and celebrate wins like Shatta Wale's appearance on Vibes Cartel's Freedom Street concert in Jamaica. Congratulations, Shatta Wale." Despite the mixed reactions, Shatta Wale's achievement is undoubtedly a significant milestone in his career. One thing is for sure, his journey in Jamaica is
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. Let's get straight into it. Ghanaians striving in middle and long distance races is rare, but a young man from the Upper West region is hoping to back that trend. David Nakusi has been breaking records in senior high and university level, but now he wants to take his exploits global.
Taking his few steps on the athletics track in 2018, David Nakusi has steadily risen through the ranks from his days in high school, where he dazzled in the black and white colors of Adisado College, through to the university. In inter-hall events at the University of Ghana, Nakusi, who competes in the 5,000 and 1,500 meters events, has been a dominant figure. Now, he wants to take that form and dominance to the world stage, beginning with the Gusa Games.
By 5 years, I want to get the next level. I don't want to end up in this level. I want to qualify when like a height of like representing Ghana, going to, for instance, Africa here, because I have realized that when we have Africa Games, like presenting Ghana in West Africa, mostly they send sprinters, and I'm trying my best and possible to also qualify for West Africa Games, and that time maybe my target is Olympic Games and other stuff. That's my target now.
And even before he goes fully professional on the tracks, Nakusi has set his sights on William Amponte's 5,000 meters national record.
2022 in Central Region, Cape Coast. I take part 1,005 and I won gold medal. That was my first time representing in Ghana, and this year 2024 CAA Senior Championship, and I ran 1,005 and I won gold medal. The day I represent Ghana, I was very excited because I don't expect myself to be in that level.
Under the watchful eye of Coach Williams Akuka, who himself left the university campus decades ago, the Doyen has no doubt about David's potential.
What impresses me about him is the focus. David is very focused. He's always letting you know that what you teaches him or what you takes him through, he understands or he doesn't understand. And I think it's one of the things that makes coaches stronger. He's giving his best as he can to be the best that I have seen. But I'm sure that we have more to come.
It takes incredible work to do anything of note as an athlete in Ghana. But at least Nakusi is burning with desire, which is a good start.
So that was a report by my colleague Andrews Sefa Banfo. And that's how we wrap up the sports segment here. My name is Oriku Ampofo. International news is up next.
A gunman has killed 12 people, including 2 children, in a series of shootings in southern Montenegro. Authorities said the man, later identified as Ako Martinovic, 45, had been drinking heavily all day when he got into an altercation with another guest at a restaurant in the Cetinje area around 4:30 on New Year's Day. After the argument, Martinovic went home to retrieve a weapon, then returned to the restaurant and began his rampage, killing several customers. He then drove to 5 other locations and shot several more people, including members of his immediate and extended family. The restaurant owner and his children, aged 10 and 13, were also killed. Police tracked him down after an hours-long manhunt. When they ordered him to drop his weapon during a standoff, he fatally injured himself and died as he was being transported to hospital. The chief of Gaza's Hamas-run police force and his deputy have been killed in an Israeli strike on a tent camp sheltering displaced families.
Well, that's all for News 360. Thanks very much for watching. For more news, you can log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare.
And I'm Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Good evening.